Hi, I've put together for you a list of do's and don'ts in cold calling. There's just a random list of things that I think you should not do and what I think you should do instead to make your cold calling success rate far better. Quick, small tips that make a big difference. So have a listen, see what you think. I'm sure that if you implemented at least one or two of them, that it will make a difference to your cold calling success too. Right, first, don't try to be someone else. Mimicking someone else who sounds like they know what they're talking about, they sound confident, doesn't necessarily mean it will work for you. Because if you try to say what they're saying, it'll come across as natural. It works for them because it suits their personality, it's who they are. So don't try to mimic them unless you're their clone. Instead, do be yourself. Use what makes you fresh and what makes you feel comfortable with what you were saying, because it's what you would say anyway and what you would say naturally. Next one, don't listen to what's going on around you. If you do, then you're simply going to convince yourself that everybody else in the room sounds far better than you do, and that'll start to break your confidence down. All right? Remember, the reality is that the people you can hear around the room are probably just as nervous as you are. Right? And actually, I'd go as far as saying the loudest one that sounds the most confident is probably the most nervous person in that room. So what do you do instead? Well, be in the call. Get your head down, focus on listening to the person that you're actually calling. And if you're not on a call yet, you're in between, then focus on the facts about that prospect and just think about how you can really add value to them. You know, if you can then still hear the noise around you, you're not yet in your call. So get your head down, get into the zone and focus. Next one. Don't try to disguise who you are. You are a salesperson, and as terrible as you might think that sounds to a prospect or a gatekeeper, it's not. Now, you are doing your job. That's all. You are a professional just like any other profession, and you are carrying out probably one of the most challenging yet most important tasks that there is in the sales process. So instead, do be open about your job. Be proud of it. Should a gatekeeper ask you if this is a sales call? Yes, say it is. Of course it is. They're not used to hearing that as well, so you might be surprised as to how they react. Though, when you say it, you have got to say it with pride and not like you're ashamed of it. Next one. Don't use scare tactics. People won't respond well to you telling them that, let's say, their IT is at risk, or they could be losing money or prospects as your opening line. To them, you're a stranger, and a stranger telling them something that they don't want to hear. Things they don't want to hear even from a close friend. I mean, you're giving them negative feedback, telling them they're rubbish at what you pointed out. So it's an insult, and all it'll do is simply put their barriers up. And that's, the fight or flight response. They'll fly from you. Instead, however, do tell them that you want to learn more about their situation with regards to what you sell. You see, influential sales techniques are about bringing the customer to come to their own conclusion about the fact that they have gaps and needs for what you offer. Next one. Don't just keep talking. Too many salespeople keep talking and try to fill in gaps in conversations or try to overcome objections through nervous diarrhea. The prospect is likely to retreat from the conversation if you talk too much. You know, they'll just end up saying yes to everything that you say, and at the end of it, they'll give you a non-committal way of getting off the call. So instead, do listen and give them as much time to speak as you possibly can. The more they're speaking, the more you are gaining their interest. Next one. Do not assume that you know everything about them just because you did your pre-calling research. Remember, you only have one half of what's going on. The public face of who they are. That's what they want you to know. That's what they want the public to know. What you really need to find out is what they're not telling everyone, because those are the weaker points that need external support. So instead, do ask questions that will make them feel comfortable in telling you where those weak parts are in relation to what you're selling. Okay, Next one. Do not use a script to talk to customers. Scripts are for actors, where each actor has their part of their script to do the dialogue. So the dialogues then fit together like jigsaw pieces. Having just half a script, because your prospect hasn't got the other half, remember? Having just half a script is assuming that the prospect will say what your script wants them to say. And that's, quite frankly, extremely foolish and insulting to the prospect. Instead though, do however have a structure, because the structure can really help you to focus on each section of your call to get to the aim at the end of it. For example, it could be introduction, seek the DM, intro to DM being decision maker, seek to understand the potential of the prospect, explain the potential value proposition, ask for meeting, if valuable, prospect face-to-face meeting, if not such a valuable or still unsure, ask for a virtual meeting. Okay, so do have a structure instead. Next one, don't cold call without knowing exactly what you want to achieve from the call. Instead, do have a clear objective to help you focus on the purpose of your call, so then you can use your questions to get there. Next one, don't cold call without putting some effort into preparation and planning. Time spent on research is not time wasted, which I do hear every now and then. If it's done and applied effectively, it actually reduces wasted time in chasing prospects. Instead, do prepare and make sure that you know what your prospect values and tailor your value proposition to fit with that. Be prepared to answer questions about why should they listen to you and what do you bring that's new to the table. Remember, by spending time on preparation, you reduce the time you waste on the call. Next one. Don't leave a cold call without knowing if it's worth you calling back. It's all too easy to simply say you'll call back, but why are you calling back if you don't even know when and why you should be calling back? Instead, do qualify the prospect and make sure it's worth your time. Know what you could potentially gain from the prospect if you pursue it, and what one thing will make them want to speak to you further. Next one, do not sound like every other cold caller out there. I think I've said this quite a lot. You will make yourself a statistic if you do that, and easy to get rid of, because you simply dehumanize the process by doing it. Instead, humanize the interaction. Be fresh, F-R-E-S-H, stand out. Make them remember you, so that next time you call or visit them, they'll remember who you are. Okay, I do hope that those tips have helped you or are helpful to you. Please try them. Good luck. Keep calling. There is more coming. As I said, I will put more meat on the bones of this, so stay tuned. Do say if you like the content, and please do subscribe and definitely share it, because the more trained cold callers we have out there, the easier it becomes for all of us to break through those gatekeeper barriers. All right, take care now. See you soon.